Hey y'all, welcome to the Undrunken Podcast. I'm your host Courtney, and each week we talk real life beyond the bottle. What it means to dump the drink, live life fully, freely, and undrunken. Let's get into it. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Undrunken Podcast. Last week we talked about surviving holiday events, but I got a lot of feedback and I was doing some thinking immediately after I posted it. Not everybody celebrates every holiday or goes to holiday events. And the holidays aren't just events, they're a season. So if you're dry or sober curious, it can feel like a month-long obstacle course. And so I thought, well, today I'm going to follow up with a part two. And we're going to dive into the seasonal overwhelm and this emotional undercurrent of what's supposed to be a joyful season and what the hell to do if you're the one hosting. So first, let's zoom out because holidays without alcohol isn't just about navigating parties, it's navigating a whole vibe. First, there's the emotional load that goes up, right? Nostalgia, loneliness, family dynamics, conflicts, conflict avoidance, people pleasing, the ho package. I'm sorry, I can't help myself with these sometimes. Second, everyone around you is doing that performance joy. The happy family act, the everything's perfect, the smile for pictures. And while sometimes it's really beautiful, sometimes it feels like you're watching a live action Insta story. You know, Third, there's a cultural pass during the holidays for drinking excessively. Society literally hands people a holiday cocktail and says, "Go ahead, babe, it doesn't count." I then there's, oh my gosh, then there's the sensory overload, okay? Hello, crowds. Hello, obligations. Hello, running around Target with 77 other people who also forgot tape. And of course, there's the Hallmark expectations versus the reality. And because most of us don't have that snow globe life, we have stress, budgets, complicated families, a dog eating your crazy aunt's baby blue raisin pudding salad, and if being undrunken is new to you or it's your first holiday season without alcohol, you might feel like you need a fucking I almost said escape, an escape hatch from, mid November till after the new year. But listen, you're not broken. You're just noticing what alcohol used to smother. I let's put a toolkit together, okay? We'll call this the seasonal survival toolkit. I'd say first, pick your energetic pace, okay? So let's just start with slowing the fuck down. This is winter. Hibernation is natural. And, maybe my conspiracy loving friend was right the other day when he said the hustle bustle of the season is bullshit. It's just cultural expectations built up by consumerism. Honestly, I kind of hit. Maybe he had a point. Instead of sprinting through December like we're all on some holiday triathlon, what if you picked one thing a week that gets your yes? And, okay, one thing might be drastic, so pick two. Maybe you pick one that brings you joy, and then the one that would take more energy to explain skipping than just showing up for the hour. Everything else becomes optional by default. Hell, maybe you dedicate one night a week just to yourself. The point isn't to limit your life, but to be intentional with your energy, especially when alcohol and holiday chaos are just rampant. I would say two, create rituals that actually regulate you. So I want you to think about tiny rituals, not some perfection attainment of habits. A 2 minute grounding exercise, an evening decompression ritual, a weekly opt out night. Like I said, one night for your week, no plans, no guilt. These aren't rules; they're regulation. Uh, you know, Third tool in our toolkit, the sober season menu. Okay, name your go tos easy early. Make it easy for you to choose what you want and to have something. So have your go-to non-alcohol option stocked. A signature mocktail that feels festive. Teas, spritzers, whatever adaptogen drinks you're loving. A cozy comfort drink for the morning after all that social energy drains you. You know, uh, Tool number 4, script your boundaries before you need them. We covered this last week, but holiday boundaries are, you got to go elite level. You got to have your lines down. Things like, nope, not drinking tonight. I'm looking to feel good in the morning, or no, I'm good with what I got. Or hey man, let's focus on catching up, not what's in my glass. A boundary said with certainty is a gift to yourself and to others. And if boundaries feel like a dirty word, hit me up because we need to talk. All right, tool number 5, know your first exit. Nothing dramatic, just a plan. It could be your car, it could be a walk outside, it could just be going into the bathroom for a grounding reset. It could be the end time that you actually honor. It's not avoidance, you're creating self trust. All right, so now that you've got your toolkit, let's move on to hosting while hosting without alcohol while you're sober, or wherever you're at. This is a power move. And this is the part that I missed last week, where so many people messaged me. Hosting without alcohol can feel intimidating, especially if you're expecting guests who drink heavily. Being sober, or not consuming alcohol around people who are, that's a lot. But let me reframe it for you. Hosting while sober isn't awkward, it's elite level power. Okay, why do I say this? Because you set the tone. When you're sober, your energy's grounded. You're not anxious, buzzed, trying to manage chaos. You're composed, you're warm, you're actually present. And people will feel that and they'll settle into it. You know, um, you get to design the environment. And you can do this in a dry, friendly way without making it weird. You know, make it BYOB. It doesn't have to be bring your own beer, bring your own beverage. That way you're not obligated to provide alcohol, or provide 1 to 2 options if you're comfortable with that. You know, but certainly have 2 to 3 genuinely good non-alcoholic options available, not just seltzers or bubblies. Something that's distinct and, again, just levels up. And then water everywhere. I mean, come on, hydration is hospitality. Add some oranges or some cranberries and limes to make it pretty and maybe even tastier. Um, and a bold option, if it's aligned for you, say alcohol isn't invited. My friend Katie and her husband did this at their wedding. And you know what? People survived. Your home is sacred, and you get to set that limit if you want to. You know, uh, Another way I think that you get elite power when you're hosting is create some micro experiences to take the shift off of drinking naturally. So this could be, a cozy photo corner, a gratitude bowl. You could do a game or have a pull a question jar. Heck, maybe even something as simple as a playlist that actually supports connection and isn't talking about shots, 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 shots. Um, you also get to manage the emotional energy. And what I mean by that is, hosting is emotional leadership, and I think first and foremost, you got to take care of yourself. So prep your nervous system before your guests arrive. Maybe pick one person to co-host the vibe, to help with the music, food, transitions. You got to drop the I must do everything martyr energy. Like, you're not a holiday cruise director, and people want to help. They like feeling part of things, you know. And then I think, you know, you get to establish the ending. And I think about, like, have you ever been in a restaurant late and they turn the lights up, right? Like, it's time to go. So maybe you increase the lighting or change the music, dessert hits. Maybe you call last call for food before you start packing it up. Create things that will establish the night's coming to an end. People will follow the vibe that you set, and I think the last thing when you're hosting is really that after moment, right? So when the house is quiet, do a quick tidy, close your loops, take a warm drink or a warm shower, have a warm drink, ask yourself, what part of tonight made me proud and what can I tweak for next time? I think I'm going to end on this note here. The holidays don't need to be a season that you survive. They can be a season you thrive. And when you're the one holding the wheel, your clarity becomes the driver other people didn't even know they needed. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. You can tag me on Instagram at Undrunken Podcast. I love hearing from you. Take care of yourself and keep making good choices.